Today on This Is Jax, I'm speaking with Justin Kunst. He is a founder and CEO of Timberwolf Advertising. Happens to be a Florida native. He's lived all over the state. In fact, he was making a state tour, intentionally living in various cities. However, the tour stopped once he arrived here in Jax. He's dug in his roots here, and today we're going to talk about why. Welcome to This Is Jax, a hyper-local podcast. We're going to do our best. We're going to bring on successful business owners, the people who drive the cities, share a lot about what makes our city so great. So you can be confident and comfortable. This is a city that you want to call home. All right, Justin, thanks for coming on This Is Jax.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm excited to get into this. I was looking at your notes, looking at your journey to Jacksonville, so I'm just going to dive right in here. You've lived about as far south as you can in Florida. I mean, as far south as you can, all the way down to the Keys, right? Mm-hmm. Now you live as far north as you can.
That's true.
And so what I want to know is, what was the journey like from South Florida to Northeast Florida, and how did you end up, once you got here, deciding that you were going to get planted here in Jax?
Absolutely. Very good question. I really like how Florida has so much diversity. And you know, we're almost up in Georgia here in Jacksonville. And as you go down, you know, there's so much that changes between West Palm Beach, Miami, all the way down to the Florida Keys.
Right.
And so I moved around a lot, you know, through my childhood, eventually landing in Stuart.
Okay.
Have you visited Stuart before?
I know the name, but not sure I've been there.
That's pretty much what everybody says.
Yeah.
You've probably passed by it because if you're going 95 south, you're gonna go through it.
Right.
Stuart is a great little retirement town with a little beachside area and a gorgeous little downtown. And I ended up living there for 10 years.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and that was fantastic.
How old were you during this time period?
This was in my 20s.
In your 20s?
This was in my 20s, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that, you know, my travels around, you know, as my family moved, I moved, you know, looking for different places to go for my career. It landed me in Stuart, which was fantastic. And after Stuart, I was very intentional about where I wanted to go.
Okay.
This was about 3-4 years ago. Extremely intentional, and I went around to a couple different major cities in Florida. I really checked out Orlando, Sarasota, Jacksonville, and I was going to get to Tampa, but guess what?
Okay.
Once I hit Jacksonville,
You stayed.
I knew where to go.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How long after you were here? Was it like within the moment you were here, or did it take 2 to 3 years? What made you fall in love with Jacksonville once you got here?
That's a good question. The longer I'm here, the more I love the city.
Okay.
And I really mean that.
Yeah.
First off, what brought me here and what really hooked me was there's fantastic culture and diversity here in this city. There's great food. That's reflected in the food. It's reflected in the art that you find. Right. It's reflected in the people. You know, as you go around, I mean, there's fantastic diversity, a lot of different people to meet, personalities. So that's what got me here. But the more that I stayed, the more I recognize, I mean, the business potential here, there's already great business potential, and it's growing.
Sure.
In the next couple of years. Real estate, there's a lot of real estate potential. Yeah. There's a lot of area out here. There's a lot of opportunity for businesses, and of course, logistics is thriving here in Jacksonville. You know, is almost like it is one of the things that makes this city. But that's growing. You know, so I love what's going to happen next 10 years.
Yeah. So really got here, and then once you were here, started experiencing the lifestyle that's attached to the physical location of Jacksonville. And I can relate to that. Grew up in Sebastian, which is a small town. And then
I think I've been there.
Found my way over to Tampa. So I did the Tampa bit for you.
Okay. You can tell me where to go.
And so I came up here and always thought I was going to go back home, right? But then this became home, which is my passion for the city.
Love that.
Yeah, so you got into the diversity of the city, into the whole group, and we kind of covered that there. And how long now have you been in Jacksonville?
So I've been here for 3 years now.
3 years?
Yes. Okay. And I bought a house last year.
Okay.
So I'm definitely setting down roots.
Yeah. What side of the city did you end up on?
So I was pretty lucky because, you know, considering the market, but I'm on the east side in Englewood.
Okay.
So not too far from downtown.
Right. And so for our listeners out there who aren't maybe from Jacksonville, a lot of times when we say Jacksonville, we're almost talking about Northeast Florida because it just kind of spills over, right? And so all of Jacksonville makes up Duval County. So if you're living in Duval, you're really in Jacksonville, but sometimes people are on the outskirts, which is why I asked. So that's really good. So you've been here 3 years, and you were down there. Now, let's talk a little bit about the business, because today, you're the founder and now you're the CEO of your advertising agency. It's called Timberwolf Advertising. So what path led you to a CEO position at a company like Timberwolf?
So I've been in marketing and advertising since I was 13.
Okay.
Literally, my first job was making a website for a local construction company. And so, while I did do different things, I dabbled in insurance, as probably most people do sometimes in their life, insurance and in some other areas. I ended up always coming back to marketing. And I love working with local businesses. And so let's talk this. Down in Stewart, I had my own agency then.
Okay.
Doing very much what I do now here.
Right.
And COVID kind of, threw the wrench in that business, because we worked with primarily local businesses. And so, that just radically changed. They're not going to be putting advertising into services.
The uncertainty was causing them to make cutbacks.
Very much. Very much,
okay.
Yes. And there was a lot of doubt in business owners.
Okay.
They didn't know what was going on. There was a lot of, everything is just ceasing operations.
Right.
And it really did. It radically changed the, consumer behavior for that, year and a half. And it's still to some extent now, though there's large recovery. But when that happened, I had to decide, as I move to this new area, what am I going to do? Am I going to go back to doing an agency, or am I going to shift? And I actually went to the corporate world then.
Oh, okay.
So that was fantastic, because the corporate world, you get this totally different dynamic on a marketing team.
Okay.
Being a small agency working directly with local businesses,
right.
It's oftentimes very low budget. You really have to maximize your dollar and your ROI.
Sure.
Suddenly I'm in with this publicly traded company they do $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a nice marketing budget. So that was a very different situation. That really allowed me to stretch out my hands, work on the team building aspect, the larger culture, understand the culture of running a larger team and company. And so after that company got acquired by one of their number one competitors, who was always one of my competitors,
right.
While I was working for them, the marketing team got laid off, got let go.
Okay.
As often happens, it's usually marketing and HR, and and those other businesses, they already have those teams set up. So I had to decide, what's my next move? Am I going to go back to corporate? Am I going to do my own agency? I decided, let's go back to running an agency again with this new outlook on a larger picture of how to create a larger, more efficient running marketing team. And so that's where I focus with Timberwolf Advertising now. Okay,
so you were able to, you had experience with your own agency, then you went to the corporate world and you were able to really learn while you were there. You had resources at your fingertips that you were able to use, and then once you left that, for whatever reason, it sounds like that acquisition process, and now it was time to take all those lessons you applied and pour them into a new venture, which became Timberwolf, and that's great. Okay.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Now, in what ways, I know you love working with the small businesses, and Timberwolf's a part of that, and then there's other ways that you do that as well, but for the listeners out there, in what ways do you connect with and support local small business here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, so it comes down to really working with the resources that businesses have and are available. There are a lot of marketing agencies that they have a certain, cap where they say, if you can't, spend $3,000, $5,000 a month, we don't want to work with you. So first off is I recognize small businesses oftentimes have limited resources. So I put together, approaches to setting up their marketing that works within those. And I take a lot of pride in being able to be that go-to company where they can invest that money, because when you're a small startup or even a local business, been in business for a couple of years, every dollar really is an investment. There's very little that you can waste, and so first off, we set up where we can work with their resources. And one of the main things that I love is working directly with the business owner, getting to know them, getting to know their business, helping them explore avenues of generating leads, how to position themselves in the market that they've never even thought of.
Right.
Technologies that they've never thought of that they can utilize. Helping them to grow their own ideas is one of my favorite things about working with the small business.
So it's relational rather than transactional.
Absolutely.
Is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
And then through those relationships, you're able to really grasp what they need and what they're able to do, and then help them build a plan and do it together.
Yep, there it is. It's a lot about the people that make up the business. I'm supporting people.
Okay. So that's all great things. I'm hearing a lot there, and I like that, what you do there, especially. And I know you're also involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and we've had some other guests on here that are involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and everybody has good things to say about it. What, as far as Jacksonville, so somebody who's looking from another city, looking to come to Jacksonville, or somebody who is in corporate and they're here, but they're ready to step out on their own path here in Jacksonville, what advice would you have for them initially in that process of that like launch phase, that jump phase here in our city?
Excellent. Yeah, good question. So I've already explored some of that here, but I'm still new, number one. There's a lot.
Yeah, but you're in the process yourself right now.
I'm in the process now.
But sometimes that's where the best data is, because we can pull a book off the shelf from 1980, but it doesn't necessarily apply to today, right? So somebody who's literally in the thick of it and able to share that experience and give that advice is sometimes the best advice.
I'll give you the highs and the lows, because it isn't always easy, being out there shaking hands, and running the path. As far as the Chamber of Commerce, I've gotten a lot of fantastic benefit from that. It's important to recognize that the chamber, while you have the larger chamber, Jacksonville is so big that they split these chambers up into smaller councils. Right? So you have, I think it's 8 councils. That makes up different areas and industries in Jacksonville. Now, I'll just run through a couple of them off the top of my head, but you have the IT Council, Health Council, Logistics and Transportation Council. So right there, if you're in one of those areas, which, Jacksonville is an area that you want to be in if you're in one of those areas, get involved. Go right for that council. Get to know the leaders there. Now, outside of, I think, those ones, I think then you get to the areas. And again, Jacksonville is so big that you have the beaches, you have Arlington, the Downtown Council, the Three Rivers Council. So between all of these councils, you could literally be doing something every single day to meet people.
Yeah, so that speaks to the opportunity that's there, because those business-to-business relationships, and I don't know what your experience is, but my experience as I've kind of been on this quest to build some business-to-business relationships. See, I came from this, anytime people from other businesses wanted to talk to me originally, I was like, I don't have time for you because I've got my clients to take care of, right? And so only through growth and learning have we been like, okay, let's actually build business-to-business relationships. So it gives more, it's win-win for my clients and for the business itself, right? Because I'm able to build great connections where, hey, I've got a client that has a need and I'm able to send them to one of these businesses I met with. And I will say that Jacksonville businesses are very welcome to meeting each other. And even if you don't end up in the exact networking group with each other, they'll still help you out and give you pros there. So, okay, cool. What about this? I do want to know about this. We've talked a lot of business stuff, and all that is great. But as a busy business leader, right? Downtime for us is also valuable. So, in Jacksonville, what does the city have to offer you that helps you maximize your rest?
And there are a lot of opportunities. So personally, one of the things that I really like about the city, there's very nice parks here.
There are a lot of parks.
There's really good parks, right?
Yeah.
You got parks on the waterfront, on the water side. You got, you have the beach over here, different than a park, but you have a lot of green space, and you can get out there, the Arboretum, the zoo, if you want to go do something, with your family, friends, and see some stuff. There's a lot of really good naturescapes around here. So I find that. Some of my favorite areas over in Five Points, very unique, cool restaurants. There's There's a theater, unfortunately, that I think is getting shut down called Sunray. We are going to miss you, Sunray. I love you forever. Unfortunately, I think something's changing with their lease.
I've been seeing a lot in the headlines and behind the scenes on there.
That hurts a little bit. It does. Sunray is, I really feel like, one of the unique pieces that makes Jacksonville special.
It was a good place for it's right. And we're here and we're talking a lot about growth and we're excited about growth, but anytime there's growth, there's also that we lose little bits of pieces, right? So we can either just hold on to the past and never accept change, or accept that if we want the change and if we want the growth, sometimes it comes at the cost. We've done group events there. I mean, great place to do your company party or whatever it was, your award ceremony there with just stuff. So I experienced that. Aside from the parks and places like Five Points, is there anything else that has really like sealed the deal on like your, off-duty activities?
How about this is something that maybe someone doesn't think a lot about, but you have St. Augustine, half an hour south of here.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like if you want a little staycation, just jet down there. It's a beautiful whole nother little area. The awesome downtown, tons of culture, ghost tours, food, beach. I mean, there it is,
Yeah. Okay. That's good. All good stuff. And I agree with you. Those are all places that I frequent. And as somebody who's raising a family here, I agree. The parks and just even in the neighborhoods themselves, they tend to be built in a way that promotes that. Okay, we've got a little bit more time here, so I want to kind of get into some of these questions. Those questions are really, centered around you. I've got some pre-canned questions that I really kind of pick from my little bag of questions here for different guests.
Bag of tricks, yep.
Yeah, so I kind of want to see, let's go. This one we ask quite often, but looking back at your first year in Jax, it's only 3 years ago, right? But, you're moving forward and you've seen growth here. What would be maybe an event or a tradition that you would build that would celebrate the city if you could?
An event or tradition. So I'm still learning a lot about the city. If I were to have an event, it'd probably be centered around the beach. I like the beach, I would say if you're in the city or if you're in the area, use the beach. So going down there, maybe, it's Memorial Day today.
Oh, yeah. At the time we're
recording
this.
There's tons of stuff going on down there, So maybe work that in.
We might have to hit that after we get out of here.
Oh, I was there Saturday dancing and partying it up on the beach for sure. So, yeah, there's something going downtown and every month, every week practically. They celebrate, culture here. They celebrate holidays, so, just tap into what's happening already.
Yeah. That's good stuff. In your opinion, what recent development, something in the headlines maybe, or an initiative that best captures the direction that Jacksonville's headed?
Cool. That's a good question.
Yeah.
So there is one thing I am pretty excited about in downtown, because I feel like this is a reflection of a lot more technology and industry that's coming here. Is they're going to be having self-driving cars on Bay Street in downtown.
That's right.
These cars are going to, I think there's going to be 12 of them, and they're just going to go loop around Bay Street over to where the teams play, over the fields over here and the arenas, and we'll come back around. So, if you're down there on a Saturday night, you can just be taking that self-driving vehicle around. You're walking. It's safe. It's fun to do. Go with your friends. That I'm pretty excited about, and that's coming this year.
Right, and we've seen that Bay Street area kind of go. I've been here now almost 20 years, so I've seen it have its ups and its downs, and it seems like it's definitely on a trending up now.
Yeah,
and I think even like historical culture and other things has been working with different buildings and putting a lot into downtown, which is helping revitalize that. And definitely everything with the sports teams and all that. What are your opinions? What do you think about the new stadium coming, all that kind of area growing?
Yeah, I think that Jacksonville's plan to have and attract more sports is really fantastic.
Yeah.
Of course, one, it like our people here, we love the Jags. You know, we love our sports teams. You have a lot of that. You have a lot of just people feel very passionate about that. So I think we should be supporting that in itself as a city. But then also we're going to be bringing in, you know, other teams to play here. I've heard them want to do major bowls here in Jacksonville.
Okay.
But to do that, we're going to have new infrastructure.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have the new stadium. We're going to have new hotels, actually. You know, there's a lot that we want to put in place, but because they're already thinking that 5 years ahead, they have several pieces moving at the same time.
Sure. So to bring it full circle, because we talked about your business some, obviously your journey to get to that business, and then we talked a little bit about the city. So tie that in. What does that mean for Timberwolf? Like, what's on the horizon for Timberwolf as we move forward?
So, good question. So Timberwolf, we have a couple different directions, but our very, you know, base is here in Jacksonville. So what we want to do is support this community. We are working to build relationships with some of our local county representatives and programs to be able to offer our services to small and emerging businesses.
Okay.
So that's going to be really important. We have some initiatives to do that. That will allow a mix of discounted services with government funding. I mean, you can't really beat that, you know, for a small business that's looking to get started. So we have some momentum there. We're building out our own lead generation and our own, you know, services here.
Okay.
Well, as a startup, you know, there's still a lot of work that I have to do to build in, you know, the foundation here. So, you know, what we're going to be doing in the next couple of months is launching all kinds of programs, giving a lot of stuff away for free. Okay, that in my mind is one of the best ways that we can support the community. We have a free SEO package for small businesses. If you are a small business, you've been in business for at least a year, you can get an update on your website, blog post, keyword research. We do it all for you. Okay, absolutely no cost whatsoever. It is a way that we can build relationships with the community here. We're also building relationships with the media here. You know, there's a lot of channels, and Jacksonville has a very good independent, kind of like locally focused news community here too. So we're working to build our relationships with them so that when we work with a client and they're doing something amazing for the city, they're doing something amazing, we can shout it out.
Connect them.
Yeah.
Wow, that's some pretty cool stuff. Pretty excited. I'm looking forward to see where you take Timberwolf and where it's at in the next few years, especially as you get more and more established here in the city. It's been great talking to you, Justin, and you know, we've covered a lot of ground, to be honest. So if you're a small business and you're out there and you're listening and you're thinking, man, you know what, I'd like to get in touch with Justin, what is the best way for someone to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. TimberwolfAdvertising.com. You go there, you'll find the free SEO package. We have a couple more new awesome things, new programs that we have coming out soon. My contact information is there. You can hit me up on LinkedIn, of course, or come on down to the Chamber of Commerce. You know, you'll see me at a meeting because I get out there. Okay. So if you're networking, come on, I'll show you the ropes. I'll introduce you to some people.
Awesome. Love it.
Awesome, Nate.
Well, thanks again for being on the show, and thanks for listening. This is Jax.